So it's been a while since I've made one of these videos, but I am back to ramble about another Warmachine caster. So far I've gone over eCreos and P. Haley, both of whom I enjoy quite a bit and each have their own places in their respective factions. But today I'm going to be talking about one of the best casters in the faction I play most, and that caster is of course eFeora, Protector of the Flame, or eFeora, which is what I'm going to be calling her going forward. So eFeora is amazing. She can support her army very well, she can beat you to death if need be, and has the #1 ability, which is a Warjack bond that gives continuous fire to the Warjack's attacks, or a Warjack's attacks in her battle group. Once again, like the other lists, this video is more a basic tutorial on how to play it and who to bring with it. So who do you bring with eFeora? And of course the answer to that is Adjudicator. Judy is bonded, is probably one of the best things that you can get out of Adjudicator. Now, the Adjudicator does not get the love it deserves among the other Colossals, but everyone will definitely agree that the place where it shines the brightest is sitting nicely beside eFeora with her bond. The Adjudicator, for those that don't know, is basically a weapons platform. It's firing 4 AoE 3 rockets along with 2 flamethrowers. You always have the option to use its 2 gigantic fists, and it's just going to pour fire out, cover the board in low damage attacks, or gigantic fists in close combat. But the thing is that the bond will give the fire continuous effect to all of its attacks. Keep in mind that this does not make the rockets, so the rocket shots that come out, an actual fire attack. So people who are immune to fire will still take the damage from the rocket, they just won't suffer the continuous fire effect in addition to that. Other than the Adjudicator, what else are you going to bring in this list? So the Adjudicator, obvious, because of the bond and the continuous fire, and it doubles down with Feora's natural abilities to make it where fire doesn't go out, and her feat is dependent on as much fire as you can have out there. But other than Adjudicator, you're going to want some of the staples of Menoth. So you're going to want your Choir, obvious choice, +2 to attack and damage rolls, a number of other nice little abilities like denying your opponent's shooting or spells against your Warjacks. You're going to want either Rax or a Hierophant. Usually I do one or the other. Sometimes you will do both if you really want to go for the extra support on Feora. But often I do want to definitely bring one of those because either way it definitely helps her out. Everything to mitigate focused use is always a good thing in my mind. You're going to definitely need Vassals of Menoth. So for those of you who aren't aware, these are 2-point solos. I don't know if I can say how much points they are, but I'm going to say it anyway. I'm going to say go buy them because you're definitely going to want to get them. And they're exceptional at supporting your Warjacks in giving them either additional attacks out of activation or letting them escape if you really need to back off. Other than that, this is where my idea kind of differs a little bit to an extent. I often bring 2 other heavy Warjacks with the Adjudicator and Feora. Thanks to Escort, makes it worthwhile. And the 2 I usually bring are a Vanquisher and a Reckoner. I like the Vanquisher because the AoE 4 that it does for the continuous fire is obviously an additional good thing to have. But I do like it because it's a large, high power attack that actually will hit directly. So the Adjudicator, as we all know, is not very accurate. It doesn't usually hit its enemy. It's better at just bombarding an area and spreading that continuous fire around. The Vanquisher will hit its target and still spread that fire around. And so it's a nice little bit of shooting that's rather accurate. And of course, if things get rough, you can just go in there and beat them up because battle will, of course, carry you through the day. And the other Jack, of course, is a Reckoner. Now, the Reckoner is because it's probably the best Jack in our faction. And some people have argued that it's probably the best Jack in the game. I don't know if I want to go that far. At least, of course, it's all taking points into consideration when I say the best Jack in the game. But I bring that mostly because I want it to sit next to Feora. The idea essentially being that anyone who comes after Feora getting close to her will get that penalty that the Reckoner causes. And then, of course, the other option is to set them up with your screen, which is the final thing that you're going to want in this unit, in this army. You're going to want a screen. Now, personally, I always bring Zealots. Zealots, I think, are the best unit in the game, and their ability to just shut down a part of the board for an entire turn, and the amount of damage that they can put out with those explosive bombs, I think is just, there's no comparison between Errants and Temple Flame Guard, who are the other 2 units that you're usually going to be looking at to want to bring with her. And frankly, I just don't see it. I don't think the other ones can do it. Now, I know you can go into Bastions, Incinerators, but I usually want to look at large numbers of models because you want to be able to cover a lot of territory, more so than you want to actually be able to survive or deal damage, because that's what your Adjudicator, your Vanquisher, and your Reckoner are for. Alright, so that's essentially the list that we're looking at. Just to sum it up once more, we've got Feora, Adjudicator, Reckoner, Vanquisher, Hierophant or Rax, Choir, Vassals of Menoth, a unit of some kind, often Zealots, in my opinion. So, how do we use this list? First off, try and go second. Now, I know that most people will want to go first, and it's usually the right play to go first, but I think in this list, it is a better plan to go second. One, you're going to get to choose your board edge, so often you're going to be able to get eFeora on a side that has a wall or a hill, which are the best two forms of defense, I think, for her. The hill being the absolute best, the wall being the second best. On top of that, your opponent's going to go first. They're going to move forward because they're going to try and take board control because they got to get the scenarios, they've got to fight for it. Basically, they're going to move up. What this means is that your first turn will come around, you're going to have escort up because you're going to have escort up, and then Judicator moving forward and being able to lay down fire with those rockets is going to start hitting his units on turn 1, which is like I don't even have words. It's the thing that makes this list so devastating is the amount of damage that you can put out early in the game and be able to have your opponent constantly losing people, constantly being on the defensive, constantly thinking that time is a factor, that he's got to make a move, that they have to make a play, because they know that you're going to continue whittling them down. Bit by bit, you're going to destroy models. And of course, getting continuous fire out there. Like I said, the biggest thing is applying damage, getting that continuous fire out there. One thing I do want to recommend, and a lot of people I see often avoid this, or at least when I watch other folks that I've seen play Menoth. Now this of course is just personal experience, but the one thing I see is they often try and aim for the infantry, which it makes sense because there's more models that you can hit with those AoEs and you can spread the fire around and they're more likely to kill them. But I often say try and actually shoot at the heavies, at least with one shot, to get the heavy on fire. I know the fire doesn't actually do a lot of damage to the heavy, but it's likely to survive, which means it's going to have fire there potentially for longer when you need it for eFeora's feat turn, but also because applying just a little bit of damage each turn makes a big difference. Like if you do, let's say you light a Warp Wolf on fire. Now that's only dice -5. You're likely looking at about 2 or 3 points of damage every turn on that Warp Wolf. Every turn it's on fire. I mean, if the game goes on any distance, you have the potential, even if you imagine if you spike dice, you can actually knock out a system on this thing. It seems like a little thing, and it really is. Like it can always obviously be healed and can do things about it, but it makes your opponent have to plan for this. It means that you're applying damage. It means they can't do things. It means they have to respond to you. You can just constantly be on the enemy right from the get-go, always doing damage, always keeping them defensive, always keeping them desperate. And that's what I think makes this great. The other thing, and the first thing you're going to really want to do on your turn, or this is it's a tough call in my opinion. It depends on the opponent you're up against. If they're able to get it really across the board, is likely you're going to want to mini feat turn 1 with your zealots. You want to do their mini feat, jam them into your opponent, stall for time, let them die the following turn. It's okay. Like fight as best you can. Try and, like as I said, I'm not saying just throw them away. Use them to screen, but you have to stop your opponent from jumping on your Judicator. You need it so that the Judicator doesn't get charged by something that's going to kill it. You need to stall as best as you can and focus your Judicator's efforts. Focus on lining up that charge so the Judicator can get in there and kill everything that can kill the Judicator. Because if you can do that, you're usually fine. Even if you lose your Judicator in the process, killing a key piece on their side may win you the game anyway. Because remember, you've got 2 more heavies. Like a lot of armies can't deal with effectively 4 heavies that are on the board there because the Judicator is basically 2 guys put together. So if you can take out their armor cracking ability, you're set. And eFeora, of course, can get work done herself. But that is essentially it. That is a brief overview. So just to go over it once more, you've got your eFeora. She's incredibly high stats, very durable, awesome spells, awesome support, awesome innate abilities. She's got a Judicator, who is the perfect weapon to apply her abilities to. You've got a couple more heavies to back up the Judicator if you need to get work done, if you need to flank. You've got the Vassals and the Choir and the Hierophants and the Racks all supporting getting as much focus and as much damage out there as possible. And then you've got a few units to screen, either the Zealots or Temple Flame Guard or Errants if you really want. And then with that, you've got your list. So leave a comment below and let me know any of your experience you've had with the Protector of the Flame. Did you laugh when a Raven player from Retribution tried to Mage Hunter Strike Force you to death, only to realize that you have an amazing stat line on eFeora, even without focus or cover? Or how about somebody running E-Iris and standing right in front of your Judicator and your Reckoner, and they said, oh, I guess you can't allocate, so you're not going to have any focus their turn, only for you to walk out, Fire Step to kill Iris, and then Feat and use all the fire that you've put out for 4 turns to give focus to your Judicator anyway? Or did you by chance have a last-minute ignite on eFeora, fire step out of combat, and then charge their caster and beat them to death? Let me know below. But the short answer is there's a lot of options in this game, a lot of options you can choose. eFeora's got a lot of answers. And I'll see you guys next time.